The missing Air Asia flight, 8501, no longer missing, sad to say. As Don reported a couple of minutes ago, there's now been a confirmed sighting of debris, and now human remains are being recovered from the ocean as a result of that tragedy. And we're joined by aviation expert Ken Jenkins to talk about this morning. Ken, thank you for joining us. Modern airliners, as complicated as they are nonetheless rather robust and resilient devices, and it is very rare for a modern jetliner to just kind of go poof in midair in the middle of a routine flight. I'm putting you on the spot here. I know there's a lot of speculation involved on your part, but what could possibly cause a modern aircraft to just come apart in midair like this?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. You know, that's the million-dollar question right now, is what brought this aircraft down. And I wish, even with speculation, that I could say what it might be. What I'm confident in saying is that it wasn't just one thing, that it would be a number of things that typically would bring an airliner down. There may be one event that occurs followed by a second event or a third event. Either something wrong with the aircraft, something with weather, a decision made on behalf of the pilots. It's not going to be one single factor, I think, that we're going to find in this event. Weather's certainly a contributing factor, but what were the other factors? And that's what we want to find. One of the pieces of information that is being reported this morning that's somewhat interesting, I think, is that they're finding, as they find the bodies of the passengers and crew, that they did not have life vests on. And that may signify that there was not enough time to prepare the cabin for an emergency landing or an attempted emergency landing even in the water. So whatever happened appears to have happened very quickly.
Yeah, a catastrophic event without any time for the flight attendants to prepare the people on board.
Exactly.
Now, there was a similar disappearance of a plane a couple of years ago. It was also an Airbus. It was an Air France flight that disappeared over the Atlantic. And it was eventually determined after a lot of investigation that it was a combination of factors, but a lot of it had to do with the fact that there was an instrumentation failure. There was icing involved, and they got incorrect airspeed readings, and the pilots overreacted or improperly reacted to the feedback they were getting from their instruments. Now, Airbuses were supposed to be retrofitted for this, were they not? I mean, wasn't this particular plane supposed to have the modifications in place?
Well, certainly it was brought to the attention of the manufacturer. We know that this needed to be fixed. And anytime there's an airworthiness directive or any kind of assessment made where retrofitting or any kind of new design needs to come out, there's usually a period of time, and I'm not familiar with what that period of time is. So sometimes it's a few months, sometimes it's a few years, but I can't answer that specifically in this case. And we don't know that in this particular case with Air Asia 8501 that it is similar to the Air France 447. We're not sure at this point.
Now, a lot of people are speculating. I mean, this is really getting off the wall, but now we're beginning to hear these bizarre conspiracy theories. We have two Asian airliners, both having catastrophic results in pretty much the same part of the world, fairly routine flights that suddenly go awry. I mean, is there any parallel to be drawn between this and Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, which we've never found, by the way?
I don't think so. I think it is a very odd coincidence, and I say that because if you go and look at United States history, and you look from the 70s up through today, you can find periods of time where there were a number of accidents within a year of commercial airliners, or over a period of 10 years with commercial airliners. Some within the same air carrier, some within different air carriers. And that doesn't mean that there's a conspiracy going on within the U.S. aviation market. It means that there was a rash of accidents within that time period. So in this particular case, I think we have I heard quoted on the news this morning, and I hate to use the word, but it seems appropriate to a degree, a textbook accident investigation now. We know that there was weather, the pilot asked to climb an altitude, and now we have a debris field. And so now we'll be able to find the aircraft and determine from the wreckage and the cockpit voice recorder, flight deck recorder, what happened.